This is ABC7 News at 7, your Suncoast News. We're here for you.
In Sarasota County, there are no regulations, none. They completely stepped away from it.
The Wild West of ride-sharing. Regulations vary from county to county and city to city when it comes to services like Uber and Lyft, but now legislation to create a statewide set of rules has its best chance of passing to date. Tonight we'll show you how a top-down approach could change the way you get around the Suncoast. Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohen, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on legislation to regulate Uber and Lyft coming up. But first, our top 7 stories at 7, and begin tonight with the ongoing investigation into a Sarasota County Sheriff's Office deputy accused of attempting to murder an elderly woman. Deputy Frank Bybee was officially fired from his position with the Sarasota Sheriff's Office today. He had been employed there for 18 years. He was arrested on January 23rd for allegedly stealing tens of thousands of dollars from a 70-year-old woman. He's accused of entering her home, forcing pills down her throat, and trying to make it look like a suicide. The Sheriff's Office is also placing Deputy Carson Plank on administrative leave because of his conduct during an internal investigation into Bybee. Now to a developing story out of Pasco County. An Amber Alert is being issued for a missing 2-year-old boy. According to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, Bane Wheeler was last seen on U.S. Highway 19 in Port Richey. The child may be with his father, 30-year-old Daniel Wheeler. It is believed Wheeler took his son from daycare this morning. Daniel Wheeler has multiple tattoos, including a linked hands that say Bane on his right arm. Authorities say the two may be traveling in the 2005 black Nissan Altima with Tennessee tags. In Bradenton, protests continue for a second day at the office of Congressman Vern Buchanan. Activists are calling on Buchanan to oppose President Trump's ban on certain immigrants and refugees. Buchanan wasn't there, but his office accepted messages delivered to the congressman. A similar demonstration took place Monday at Buchanan's Sarasota office.
I'm here to let Mr. Buchanan know, our representative, that I'm paying attention. And I'm keeping an eye on him, and that he comes up in 2018 and I am a voter.
Our congressmen are our first line of defense. They are the adults in the room. I mean, we literally are dealing with a 3-year-old who has a hammer.
Congressman Buchanan responded by saying, "My door is always open for constituents. I am hopeful the administration will move swiftly to resolve any issues involving individuals with green cards, as well as military interpreters who bravely served alongside our troops." Now to Holmes Beach, where construction on a new resort is getting underway. The Waterline Marine Resort and Beach Club is going up on Marina Drive. It is built at a cost of $18 million, while local business owners are excited for the increase in customers it could bring. Others are worried about the traffic.
For business is great as a business owner, and it will bring business to the island, but as a resident, it might get too busy.
The resort is scheduled to open its doors in early May. Sarasota County is making it easier for cars and bicycles to share the road. Clear markings known as sharrows are being added to roads where a separate bike lane can't be added. If you see this type of bike symbol, it means there is no designated bike lane, but you need to look for sharp for cyclists. A broken double line means vehicles are able to merge into the bicycle lane to make a right turn. Governor Rick Scott is releasing his budget for the new fiscal year, and if passed, it would be the largest spending plan in Florida history. The governor is proposing an $83.5 billion budget. It spends $1 billion more than last year, including $618 million in tax cuts, $85 million in business incentives, and changes to make college more affordable.
When small businesses get more of the money as a result of lower taxes, they buy more equipment, put more money into research, marketing. It ultimately adds up to more jobs.
The plan would also cut funding for hospitals and healthcare programs. Lawmakers will use his recommendations as a starting point for their state budget. An update on the new Suncoast Technical College plan for Northport. We are getting a first look at the artist renderings of the project, which is set to be completed this fall. A public library will also be built on the site on North Cranberry Boulevard, south of Toledo Blade. The campus is being built at a cost of $23 million, funded in part by the school district, Sarasota County, City of Northport, and the state. Hats off to New College of Florida. The school is being ranked by Princeton Review as one of the top colleges in the nation for return on investment. The school ranked 49th in the top 50 and is the only Florida school to make the cut. More than 5,000 schools were assessed. And now for a first look on our weather, we go out to Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Like that return on investment. That's always a good thing. We are looking at some good weather too, Alan. It was a cold start this morning. We had some frost east of I-75 and temperatures were in the 40s, even low 40s right near the coast. And currently the temperature not too bad, 59 degrees, clear skies. It will be a little bit warmer this evening, but still slightly below average. The dew point temperature has come up since yesterday. Winds are light out of the north-northwest at 3. The light winds, clear skies, and temperatures getting close to the dew point will allow for some fog to form. It'll be patchy at best, but a little bit better chance for some fog tomorrow. 61 in Jacksonville, the same in Orlando, 67 in Key West. Temperatures right along the coastline, upper 50s to near 60 degrees, and pretty much the same story inland. 62 in Northport right now, and Lakewood Ranch here at 60, Parrish 62 degrees, Longboat Key 59, Siesta Key at 60, and Minnesota Beach at 63. The evening planner looks like this. Fair skies right through 11 o'clock. I mentioned that 52-degree reading. That will be on the cooler side. And as far as the headlines go, well, it's going to be cool tonight, not cold like we saw last night. Temperatures will be a few degrees below the average low right around 52. And the warmer afternoon tomorrow. We had highs today, upper 60s. We'll see highs tomorrow in the low to mid 70s. Near the beaches, right around 70. And the weekend is looking absolutely outstanding. Even looks like fair skies covering most of the state of Florida for that matter, with warm to mild temperatures. A beautiful sunset tonight. Not many clouds out there to light up and create the brilliant colors like we saw the last couple of nights, but still, all in all, a nice sunset as you see right there from the Van Wezel webcam. And dry air is in place. No threat of any rainfall. I'll let you know if that will continue on through the next 7 days with our 7-day outlook coming up in a few minutes, Alan.
Freeze, keep it like this.
That's doing pretty good, yeah.
All right, thanks a lot, Bob. And still to come, do you know what kind of insurance your Uber or taxi driver has? Depending on where you live in Florida, it could vary drastically. We'll show you why legislators are working to change that and where the rules stand right now on the Suncoast when we return.
At SWC Properties, we pride ourselves in providing to you the very best in customer satisfaction, and the secret's getting out. Maybe that's why so many people have chosen to list their homes with our friendly and qualified agents. After all, it only makes sense to list with a growing agency that markets in so many places. To list your home with SWC, give us a call at our office and ask for Jackie Avina.
If you're not in control, then who is? Live above the influence.
Check out mysuncoast.com/dining, your guide to the foodie lifestyle.
Hi, I'm Joan London, and if you're worried about your parent or a loved one living alone like I was, and you want reliable senior care information, then call A Place for Mom, the nation's largest senior living referral service. You'll get free information on assisted living, Alzheimer's care, nursing homes, even important financial information.
They had obviously researched every place, not just given me names. They found me a place for what she could afford, and it was magnificent.
We're now very confident that she's safe, and they just helped every step of the way, and I can't thank them enough.
So if you're struggling to find reliable senior living information, call A Place for Mom. This is a free service, and you can trust them to help you.
Call right now to get your free Senior Care Compass ebook. Find out about the 5 best-kept secrets on financing senior care and assisted living.
Call now, 800-290-0352. 800-290-0352. Come meet the artists and enjoy their creations at the Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival. Over 100 artists and thousands of works of contemporary art in photography, glass, sculpture, jewelry, and much more. The Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival, Saturday and Sunday, February 4th and 5th on Lido Beach in Sarasota. Bring your sense of discovery and appreciation of the beautiful to the Lido Beach Fine Art Festival. For more information, visit ParagonArtEvents.com.
Who out there hasn't used Uber or Lyft yet? It is easy, it's convenient, and you don't have to carry cash or even a credit card. Sarasota County has not adopted any regulations, but now the state legislature is considering statewide rules, and ABC7's Ray Collins has more.
Few things besides the internet itself have turned industries on their heads like Uber. And now, while the city of Sarasota and Sarasota County doesn't have any regulations for Uber, the city of Venice does, starting with a $100 application at City Hall. Irv Helmuth signed up to be an Uber driver last year, but was more to gain knowledge for his full-time job, which is running a taxi cab company. Helmuth says he's well aware of the checkerboard-like Uber regulations around the state.
In Sarasota County, there are no regulations, none. They completely stepped away from it. In Tampa, they have regulations, but they're not enforcing them.
And if you go to the Sarasota-Bradenton International Airport, there is a set of regulations there.
There's got to be some guidelines on what the insurance regulations are going to be, what driver background checks have to be, those type of things for the safety of the passenger. We implemented those not for any other reason, but you have to protect the passenger.
Airport Director Rick Piccolo says even though his longtime cab and limo drivers outside the terminal might not like it, he says there's a place for Uber.
It's been a very good thing. People love it. We think about 50% of our clientele are using it. We have no objections to it. I just think there has to be an even playing field and a regulatory environment to protect the passenger. The person who flies in here and has never been here before has to have some assurance that the vehicle they get into that's been approved by the local community has insurance on it and has a driver that's had some sort of background check to at least do the best possible to ensure their safety.
Piccolo says it's time the legislature gets involved.
A set of standards that's the same everywhere because it's going to be a statewide problem.
And Irv Helmuth agrees.
I think it's dangerous to the general public.
So we took these concerns to State Representative Joe Gruters in downtown Sarasota. He says his colleagues in Tallahassee are on the case.
Well, there's no question there's different rules and regulations all across this state because individual municipalities, counties have passed their own rules regulating these ride-sharing programs. So what the state's doing now is they're looking at a bill that's going to make a uniform law throughout Florida, really to keep people safe.
Gruters agrees you can't have 20 or 30 sets of regulations around the state, and besides, the Republican says Uber is a thorn in the side of unions.
But what it does is just going to take all these different rules that exist out there and just streamlines it, and it's going to prevent these individual communities where they have these strong taxi cab unions from going around and trying to prevent people from having access to this safe thing.
And for taxi cab drivers like Irv Helmuth, some state regulations can't come soon enough.
I'm not one that likes regulations, okay, because I'm a businessman. There are a lot of regulations get in our way, but there needs to be some kind of a level playing field or common sense that's not being used currently by drivers who are driving with no insurance at all.
In Sarasota.
Coming up, we hear from a state senator who is proposing the new regulations, as well as the owner of a local cab company and the city. In a moment, we take it to the trapezoid.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to save a life? Find out by donating platelets at Suncoast Blood Bank.
I'm Haley Wilgus, ABC7. Platelets aid in the clotting process and are vital in the treatment of cancer and surgical patients, trauma victims, and critically ill newborns. It's tough to keep enough on the shelves because they only last 5 days. To donate, call this number or visit scbb.org and you can help save a life.
ABC7 congratulates Suncoast Blood Bank on 65 years of serving our community.
Top Dog 2017, benefiting Dante's Den, is the Carnival of Dogs. Join us at the Francis for an evening of great food and fun as dogs compete for the title of Top Dog. Grab your pooch and head out to Top Dog, Saturday, February 4th at 6 p.m.
I knew I could get myself out of this. I just needed some hope. and some help.
I took the first step to recovery when I made the call.
If you're depressed, drinking, and using drugs, you may need help. And the Affordable Care Act guarantees coverage of substance abuse. Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment.
I had problems just getting to sleep, drinking and using pills every night.
I feel like I'm losing control. I'm afraid I'll lose my job or even my family.
Are you losing hope? You can recover and get back on track. Call now for hope and help with proven, gentle recovery programs.
I never thought that I could be somebody who didn't drink and use drugs.
I have something to hold on to for strength. I'm in recovery, getting the help I need.
Call the Addiction, Hope, and Helpline now for a free assessment with someone who cares.
Call 1-800-764-8708. That's 1-800-764-8708.
Come out to the best party of the season, the Goodwill Mardi Gras Gala on February 28th at Michael's on E. Tickets at experiencegoodwill.org.
Are you considering joint replacement or revision surgery? Consider this. Dr. Edward Stolarski has performed thousands of successful joint replacement procedures and trained surgeons from all over the world. Using advanced technologies, Dr. Stolarski is able to perform some of the most complex surgeries.
I wish I knew about Dr. Stolarski much sooner. After the surgery, I don't have any pain. It's like I've got a 16-year-old hip.
My name's Ed Stolarski. What I really do is I give people back their life.
Schedule a consultation today.
Welcome back. Our discussion is coming up in a moment, but first, joining us by Skype is State Senator Jeff Brandes of St. Petersburg, who is sponsoring the legislation to create statewide rules for transportation network companies like Uber and Lyft. Senator, thanks for joining us. What do you hope to accomplish by this bill?
So our goal is that we have a statewide regulation. We have over 100 million tourists that come to the state every year. We think that they want seamless transportation options no matter where they are in the state. And so with our legislation, once it passes, whether you get in an Uber or a Lyft in Key West or Sarasota or the Panhandle, you'll know that you'll have the same level of insurance, the same background checks that have taken place.
You know, the taxi industry has raised some questions about whether the background checks are sufficient enough, or at least as much that taxi cab drivers have to go through. How would you respond to them?
In many areas of the state, they'll be more stringent than what they're currently requiring. I think it's important to realize that this level of background check is what has really become the industry standard around the country. Many other states have adopted this level of background check, and so we're just adopting the industry standard as the standard in Florida.
What is the problem associated with the fact that, for instance, in Sarasota County, there are no regulations? In Hillsborough County, there are, but they're not really being enforced.
Well, I think the challenge is I live in Pinellas County. We have 24 different cities. Under our rules today, every city could have a different regulatory structure, different insurance requirements, different background checks. And then if you wanted to go into Hillsborough County, you would find yourself in another regulatory structure. So I think the time for a standardized regulatory structure is upon us. I think, frankly, citizens want it. I think our tourists deserve this type of access. And business travelers are requiring this type of seamless transportation access, and that's what we're looking to provide.
Would this preclude local municipalities from adding any of their own type of regulations? For instance, I see that some would like Uber drivers and Lyft drivers to contribute to the upkeep of roads and bridges.
Well, I think they contribute to the upkeep of roads and bridges because they pay the gas tax, more so than a handful of them paying some small amount of dollars as a licensing fee in their communities. I think the challenge with doing these one-off licensing fees is that it would be incredibly expensive to operate a business across city lines or county lines if in every city you have to have a separate business license.
Finally, you have introduced legislation like this in previous sessions. What is different now that leads you to believe there is a better chance to get this passed?
So we've been able to consistently get this bill through the Florida House, and now we have a brand new Florida Senate. We have 20 new senators this year, and we have a new Senate leadership that has a very different vision for this issue than our last Senate leadership. So we're excited. This is the year. We would expect this to be passed off the floor of the Senate in the first couple of weeks of the session.
And finally, also, what do you think, or how do you think that this will benefit riders of both Uber, Lyft, and actually taxi services around the state?
So I think the major benefit for us is that we're moving into this shared economy, and we're providing seamless transportation options. I think at the end of the day, these didn't even exist 6 years ago, and they've kind of swept over Florida, and we are seeing so many more opportunities for cities partnerships, for partnerships with mass transit, and frankly, in some areas, this becoming the mass transit option for those communities. So I think it really shows that the options are really opening up to Floridians with this new type of technology and seamless transportation options.
All right, Senator Jeff Brandes, thank you very much for joining us from St. Petersburg tonight, and we'll be back with our roundtable in just a moment.
Ciao, amici! It's time for Carnevale de Cani, Top Dog 2017. Benefiting Dante's Den is the Carnival of Dogs. Join us at the Francis for an evening of great food and fun as dogs compete for the title of Best Dressed, Best Hair, Best Kiss, and Best Singer. Top Dog is a party for dog lovers and their four-legged best friends. Come celebrate our favorite pets at Top Dog 2017, Saturday, February 4th at 6 p.m.
On your TV, on your computer, on your camera, on your smartphone, on your Apple Watch. And now you can get ABC7, your Suncoast News on Fire TV. Just go to mysuncoast.com and click on the mobile tab for a list of fast and free downloads that deliver ABC7, your Suncoast News on the go. Looking for something fun to do on a Friday night? Then come to Music on Main, the first Friday of every month at Lakewood Ranch. Enjoy free live music, dancing, great food, and lots of fun for every family member, even the furry ones. Meet up with friends, enjoy activities for the kids, or make it a special date night. And be sure to stop by the ABC7 booth and say hello. Mark your calendars for Music on Main, first Friday of the month, 6 to 9 at Lakewood Ranch. Brought to you by ABC7 and these sponsors.
Attention blood clot filter patients. Surgically implanted blood clot filters are potentially life-threatening. Some filters are prone to breaking, resulting in pieces of the filter moving through the body and causing internal bleeding. If you had surgery to implant a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to a cash award, even if you haven't suffered side effects yet. Call the Gold Shield Group now, 888-747-5291, to see if you qualify for a cash award, 888-747-5291.
Ideologue. I am an originalist.
Our discussion of ride-sharing services is coming up in just a moment, but right now let's get a check on our forecast from Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan. Bob.
Thanks, Alan. A photo sent in today of the blue heron there, and we could see this Cindy Desmond always sending some great shots. A nice reflective moment there. You can see the reflection of that lovely bird. And Titan radar picture not depicting any rainfall around our area. That's a result of a large area of high pressure which has moved in and is dominating our weather now and is situated just off the Carolina coast, and looks like we will see fair conditions. Now our winds will shift more to an east to southeasterly direction beginning tomorrow with a little west coast sea breeze developing in the afternoon. That will keep the beaches right around 70 degrees for highs, but inland areas will definitely get into the mid 70s and even warmer still as we approach Thursday with highs in the upper 70s. Right now it's 59, the dew point 50, winds are light out of the north-northwest, and with clear skies and light winds, a good chance for some fog forming. Better chance for fog forming closer to the coast tomorrow night. 68 degrees the high today, so not too far off the average. 72 is our normal. 41, very chilly start this morning. At the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport, we had upper 30s east of I-75, even mid-30s in inland counties with some frost around to start the day off. So no frost tonight, and we're not anticipating anything drastic as a result of the high pressure building in, and temperatures right now into the 50s and 60s, and a little bit cooler inland, 53 degrees in Sebring now, Lake Placid at 53 degrees, a bit warmer in Arcadia, Northport, Punta Gorda, all at 61. 59 now in Cortez and Bradenton at 58 degrees. Lows tonight, close to seasonal averages right near the water into the mid-40s. Inland areas like Omayaca City as well as into Lakewood Ranch will be in the 40s there, and 50s into Bradenton, Longboat Key, and Anna Marie Island. So a typical start to tomorrow morning. A beautiful day, though, with a little wind, sunshine, plenty of it. High temperatures will warm a couple degrees above average, and looks as though we'll see this trend continue for much of this work week and into the weekend. There's no foreseeable fronts, and looks like things will stay pretty quiet here as a result of this dominating area of high pressure, which will continue to just kind of park itself east of the state, and everything kind of rides the periphery of that front well to our north. You can see that front well to the north of us staying there. It comes down and kind of fades away over Georgia on Thursday and Friday. Elsewhere across the U.S., we have this a little jet stream now. It's a little bit of a dip across the Ohio Valley now, causing some snow showers there near Cleveland, Buffalo getting some snow, and also tapering off down to Wisconsin and Minnesota, but that snow heading to the northeast. The temperature is fairly warm. In St. Louis, it's 48. Washington, 54 degrees. Boston, 27. The cold air really kind of confined to the northern plains and northern Rockies right now. 19 in Billings, but Denver at 48 degrees, making for some great skiing weather there right now with fresh powder for the most part all throughout the central and northern Rockies. For boaters, winds will be out of the east to southeast, turning to the southwest at 5 knots. Seas will be generally 2 feet or less with a light chop out there. Water temperature at 66 degrees. And we'll see a high at the beaches right around 70. Tides upcoming. Low tide will be at 9:20 and a high at 2:37 tonight. Seasonal, 48 for your low. Clear and not as cold. The northeast winds at 5 miles an hour. And for tomorrow, I'll look for plenty of sunshine, a little bit of patchy fog burning off. Mostly sunny, a mild finish, high near 72 degrees, and the extended forecast is calling for delightful weather running in through the next 7 days. You'll see that, and it looks like mid to upper 70s right through Saturday and Sunday. Groundhog Day on Thursday. We are anticipating, again, a nice day for Groundhog Day. For us, anyway, sunshine and plenty of it. And as far as NOAA is concerned, we are looking at much warmer temperatures across most of the U.S. This is the outlook from the climatologists, I should say, from the climatology department of NOAA. Above average, 33% for Florida. So that's a warming trend. Alan will be right back after this.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
We have Workout Wednesday ideas that you can do on your own. I'm Stephanie Roberts. On Suncoast View, our personal trainer will teach us the correct way to do common exercises that don't require going to class. We'll learn how to protect ourselves with vaccinations when traveling abroad. Plus, Suncoast for sale, and we're getting ready for Valentine's Day a little early with the best romantic dining.
Tomorrow at 4 on Suncoast View.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
Is debt beating you down? You need discipline. You need
the Debt Ninja. If you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS, you could be facing wage garnishments, levies, liens, property seizure, cancellation of business license, closure of business. The Debt Ninja fights your IRS debt. That's why you need the Debt Ninja. The Debt Ninja has found the best companies in the country who are on your side to fight debt. Want to learn if you qualify for the IRS Financial Hardship Program? Stop the IRS from garnishing your wages. Even if your bank account has been seized, if you have undeclared taxes, if you have existing IRS debt, it's not too late to call, so grab your phone now. Call the Debt Ninja at 800-945-0083. That's 800-945-0083. Settle your IRS debt to get the power of the Debt Ninja. Dial this number now, 800-945-0083.
Come meet the artists and enjoy their creations at the Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival. Over 100 artists and thousands of works of contemporary art in photography, glass, sculpture, jewelry, and much more. The Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival, Saturday and Sunday, February 4th and 5th on Lido Beach in Sarasota. Bring your sense of discovery and appreciation of the beautiful to the Lido Beach Fine Art Festival. For more information, visit ParagonArtEvents.com.
Welcome back. If you're just joining us, we are discussing the regulations around transportation services like Uber and Lyft. And joining us for our discussion is Irv Helmuth, the owner of Blue Ribbon Transportation and Got a Taxi, and Mark Lyons, the parking division manager for the city of Sarasota. Let's explain to our viewers right now just how weird some of this issue is right now, because the city of Sarasota has no regulations involving Uber, Lyft, or taxi companies. But you deal, not only your company's based here in Sarasota, but you're taking people to and from Tampa, right, and the airport a lot. And Hillsborough County does have regulations, so you have to have your drivers have extensive background checks.
Right.
But the Uber and Lyft drivers here in Sarasota don't have that.
Correct.
So is that a competitive disadvantage, let alone a safety issue?
Well, as far as a competitive disadvantage, the only advantage we have is we do have them, and our customers know that. There are some customers that want the security of knowing that we have level 2 background checks, because we have badges in our cars that display that badge showing that we have had a level 2 background check.
But it also comes at a cost to you to provide that.
It's not a big cost. The big cost for us is the insurance. You know, we pay upwards of $4,000 to $5,000 per vehicle for commercial insurance, and we have $1 million liability policy, of which I can tell you the rest don't.
And right now, Uber and Lyft and services like that don't have to have that kind of liability coverage?
Well, that is correct. Not in the city of Sarasota and not in the county either. About a year and a half ago, the city sort of reviewed this whole need and requirement for permitting not only taxis but also the Uber and Lyfts of the world, the transportation network companies, and really stepped forward, sort of unprecedented scenario, and decided that in this area we want to move forward with the new technologies, open up the free market for transportation services, take advantage of the new technologies, and repealed the ordinance with those requirements.
I remember that because it happened just as we debuted on the air, and there was kind of a crazy debate because some of the ideas about minimum insurance, background checks are common sense things, and since there was no consensus on it, we just did away with all the regulations.
Well, and the state had been, even at that time, working on a statewide regulation that would impact the TNCs and the taxis as well. And there was belief at that time that this would be forthcoming. And of course, they're still working on it, but I think this year it'll probably happen.
It was shot down in the state legislature a couple of times.
That's right.
So here's where we are. Raise your hands. Who believes that there should be statewide minimum regulations for not only taxi companies, but Uber and Lyft and ride-sharing services?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But the problem is a number of things. Number one, do you believe that the regulations that you see in this bill are sufficient?
Okay. From what I've seen, the answer would be they're very light. I don't think they include level 2 background checks.
What's the difference?
Well, there's between a level 2 background check and just a basic background check. It's a level 2 is FBI background. They go to all the different organizations. I think Tom can probably explain the difference better. But the biggest thing is it's an ongoing check. If one of our drivers gets involved in a criminal activity, you know, we're notified about it. So It's an ongoing check. It's a more in-depth check, and it's fingerprinted.
Now, from the city's point of view, not only Sarasota, but any municipality, there is something called home rule. Cities and towns, for whatever reason, like to make their own rules and not be basically governed by a statewide, mandate in terms of how to regulate local companies, correct?
Yeah, Alan, you're right. And I think what's interesting is it's taken 50, 60 years of this transportation industry, not just TNCs, but certainly the taxis and limos, to sort of develop the rules that were in place. Many of them were worthwhile at their time, but as we've progressed in our industry, a lot of things have changed, and I think on a statewide level, it makes sense to have regulation. I know our city would like to keep home rule intact, but I don't believe that they're completely against any kind of overriding umbrella rules that we would have to comply with. That would make a lot of sense.
Right, but when you're dealing, for instance, when there were regulations on taxis here in Sarasota, the municipality would have an opportunity to put, whether it's some kind of tax on taxi services that would help with essential city services like roads or other kinds of maintenance.
Well, that's true, but you know, I think the point to remember about home rule is each community is a little different, and our roadways are different than Orlando's, and how a taxi or TNC operates here versus Orlando or Miami may be significantly different. So our rules may have to operate differently. We may have maybe less stringent requirements than those cities. Why overburden these operations if it's necessary? So home rule has its place.
Irv, there are, as you said, there are a lot of things that are potentially in this bill that are not sufficient to you think the needs are. One of the things that you were telling me about before our show was that Uber and Lyft, in many ways, anybody can, not Uber and Lyft, but anybody could set up their basically Joe's taxi company without any kind of visible signage.
And they do.
And that can potentially be problematic.
Yeah, if you look around Sarasota and just look at some of the transportation that goes on here in downtown, there's a lot of drivers down there that are neither Uber drivers or Lyft drivers, you know, but they just have put a sign on the side of their car. Nobody knows if they have insurance. Nobody knows if they've been background checked. It can be anybody.
Right.
And
this whole issue involving Uber specifically has become, around the state, incredibly politicized, and there is a huge battle which both of you are aware of, and you have to deal with it because it involves Hillsborough County, where there are allegations that the county is basically, scheming against Uber. How does that affect the entire industry, ride sharing and taxi companies?
Well, it creates an adversarial environment, you know, but I think for the most part, most of our drivers get along with everybody. You know, I mean, I'm not quite sure how to answer that question.
Well, you answered it pretty well. I guess my point is, as this thing has been rolled out over the couple of years, have you both felt the intense lobbying from Uber, the corporation, to get into cities and towns and basically do things the way they wanted to do that? I mean, they hired some huge names to try to move the lobbying along.
Well, you know, remember that Uber is a global company. Lyft is as well. The revenues are extreme, and they have to try to determine how they're going to be effective in any of our communities. And I can understand how it's a challenge for them. And up to this point, most taxi and limousine companies are regionally based. So they may sell franchises or have operations in other communities, but they operate within those regions. So when the Uber and Lyft companies came in, it changed everything. And so, you know, this shift was needed. It's something that most communities are engaged in, and certainly the populace are desiring this. So I think we owe it to the communities to try and move forward and make this happen. But it does need to be a larger overriding mandate on how it's controlled, and potentially still maintain some local monitoring.
Is it possible to tell our viewers what kind of market share that the ride-sharing services has taken away from the taxi industry here in Sarasota?
Well, I think they've taken a big share of it. I can't tell you in percentages, but I mean, there's certain companies that have been hurt badly from it. But I think the...
Not yours or yours?
No, ours is not.
Why?
Well, we have always tried to have a little bit upscale. We've had clean vehicles, newer vehicles, and tried to have a more upscale vehicle and a more upscale service, and there are people that want that.
And we have less than a minute, but I want to ask you, Mark, one of your concerns is if the state passes these regulations, who oversees it?
Well, enforcement is a question, and how they would implement it could be very tricky. And I just want to respond to something Irv just mentioned. Of course, one of the reasons I think that the City Commission took the position to repeal the ordinance is they felt the free market would take over and actually raise the quality of services out there. There may still be a few oddballs that aren't operating properly, but overall, companies like Irv's are doing quite well.
All right, let's take a quick break, and when we return, we'll have final thoughts from our guests, plus what some of our viewers are saying about President Trump's immigration ban.
All hands on deck.
Jack, what's up? I want to point out 3 tips for using the home computer more safely. Point away.
First, stop. Make sure your software is up to date and that you've password protected your computer's login and Wi-Fi connection.
Next, think before visiting a site, opening attachments, or clicking on links.
Then connect, knowing you're helping make the web safer for you
and for everyone. Make Stop, Think, Connect part of your daily online routine.
Top Dog 2017, benefiting Dante's Den, is the Carnival of Dogs. Join us at the Francis for an evening of great food and fun as dogs compete for the title of Top Dog. Grab your pooch and head out to Top Dog, Saturday, February 4th at 6 p.m.
ABC7 News at 7, weeknights.
Attention, this is an important message for anyone who has taken Xarelto or Pradaxa. If you or a loved one took the blood thinner medication Xarelto or Pradaxa and was then hospitalized for internal bleeding, you may be entitled to significant compensation. Xarelto and Pradaxa have been linked to serious, even fatal internal bleeding. If you suffered a stroke, heart attack, or serious internal bleeding, or if a loved one died after taking Xarelto or Pradaxa, call us now. Our network of attorneys have years of experience fighting the big pharmaceutical companies and is ready to fight for you. Potential claims are being reviewed for users of Xarelto or Pradaxa who have suffered severe bleeding or hemorrhaging, stroke, or even death. Our network of experienced attorneys is ready to fight for you. You won't pay a thing unless your case is settled. Call today for a free confidential consultation. Don't fight this alone.
Please call 800-928-6604. That is 800-928-6604.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Welcome back. So should state lawmakers create a standard set of rules for Uber and Lyft and taxi services? Our guests join us right now for final thoughts. And Mark, from the city's perspective, you are for this, but?
Well, Alan, that's your but. I'm going to say that we are in favor of the state establishing some guidelines that need to be met. We think there is still a lot of detail that have to be worked out, and that's important. We'll see how that falls.
Biggest details?
Well, the details about how it works, how it's enforced, how it's applied from one community to the other, the difference between small operators, large operators. A lot of these things come into play, and the type of operation. So, but beyond that, I think it's important that the citizens of the city know that we're interested in hearing from them if there's issues. We want to know if there's concerns about these types of operations. They can certainly call the parking division office and speak to me, since we were the regulatory body in the past. And more importantly, the city is moving forward in transportation methods beyond just taxi and limousine and the circulator of downtown. We're working to move a water taxi into operation. So there's things that we're doing to help improve.
That's a whole
not just
other
that.
show.
All right, very good.
Irv, I want to give you the last word. You're for this, but you have reservations.
Well, I mean, the only reservation I would have about it is the enforcement part of it. You know, and I have not, I'm sort of handicapped because I haven't seen the bill. I don't know what is in it. But I guess the general public should know that there are services out there that have criminal background checks in their drivers. All right, they have newer cars and updated vehicles. The customers, there's two different kinds of services here. One is the app, and the other one is a phone call. Okay, we don't have an app that they can call, but there are customers that want consistent service. They want the same driver every time. They want to deal with the same company. You know, they want upscale services. And we do a lot of airport service and a little bit of an upscale service to them. So
we have to leave it there. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of our viewers are saying about President Trump's ban on immigrants from 7 majority Muslim nations. Protesters have been gathering at Congressman Vern Buchanan's office for 2 days now, demanding he oppose the order. We asked you what you think about it. Susie Olney writes, the terrorist pilots from 9/11 trained at the Venice airport. This is a 120-day immigration ban to give the president and Congress time to come up with a plan on immigration. immigration. Nick Howard writes, the nation is split about who won and who didn't, and everyone in office has to get on the same page. This is for our protection during this fragile process. Don't forget, Obama did the same thing, but for 6 months. And Liv Coleman writes, what should be even more alarming to people, though, is the process by which the executive order came about, with no input from proper legal teams. And while the Department of Homeland Security had still not even fully discussed it or had a chance to offer their input, it also looks like it was designed to set up at least a test of separation of powers by including orders to also ban lawful permanent residents initially, which is on the slippery slope to authoritarianism. What are your thoughts about these rules and Uber and Lyft and taxi services? Let us know by visiting our Facebook page at facebook.com/news@7. And FYI, want to watch past roundtable discussions? They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. Thanks to our guests for being here tonight. Irv Helmuth is the owner of Blue Ribbon Transportation and Got a Taxi, and Mark Lyons is the general manager of the parking division for the city of Sarasota. When we return, tens of thousands of veterans could soon be eligible for benefits. We'll show you how the VA is finally acknowledging the impact of water contamination at Camp Lejeune. Plus, now is your last chance to sign up for Obamacare. Find out why you haven't been seeing the ads letting you know that. The details are coming up in our primetime headlines.
How hard is it to stop a stroke? It is challenging, it is difficult, and every second counts. A comprehensive stroke center gives the patient a better chance to walk out with minimal to no disability. We are able to offer treatments above and beyond the standard 3 hours after the onset of a stroke. A place like Sarasota Memorial Hospital really increases those chances of giving back a better quality of life.
Attention small business owners. Penn Funding announces the easiest and fastest business funding program, the Platinum Business Account.
We needed cash fast. Business is good, but this is an emergency.
We needed some new equipment, and the banks wouldn't help us. At Penn Funding, we like to say, yes, you're approved. With your Platinum Business Account, you could qualify for up to $50,000 or more. This amazing new business account funding program is so effective, you could have the cash you need in just days.
I called, spoke with an agent who pre-qualified us, and connected me.
Call now for your Platinum Business Account. If you've been in business for at least 6 months, you could qualify for up to $50,000 or more in just days.
I called Penn Funding and had my money fast.
Need cash for your business? Call Penn Funding now.
Call 800-658-3433. 800-658-3433.
The official salon of ABC7. Cutting Loose Salon.
Welcome back. In tonight's For Your Benefit, we're focusing on an issue that impacts nearly 23,000 of our nation's veterans. Camp Lejeune is a Marine Corps base in North Carolina. It was discovered that contaminants in the water at the camp from 1953 to 1987 may be responsible for 8 different kinds of diseases, ranging from leukemia to Parkinson's. And after years of waiting, the Department of Veterans Affairs will begin giving benefits to those impacted starting in March. The VA described the decision as historic. And joining us for more on the situation is government benefits consultant Jerry Zivick. And Jerry, you just brought up an interesting point. Our new president just instituted a federal hiring freeze. And so the question becomes, a lot of vets who deserve these benefits, how are they going to get them processed?
Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this is all handled. There is this hiring freeze. Will the administration grant a waiver to the Veterans Administration to hire more people? I don't know. As you said, there's going to be 23,000 possible claimants, or they're predicting there's going to be 23,000 possible veterans filing for benefits. I actually think it's going to be a lot more. During the period at issue between 1953 and 1987, they estimate there's between 900,000 and 1 million people have been exposed or gone through Camp Lejeune at that period of time. So the number of people that can file claims could be substantially higher.
You know, I've heard a lot of anecdotal stories about vets getting a lot of information from the VA through the mail about this, but not knowing exactly what to do. So if you're a veteran and you were stationed at some point at Camp Lejeune and you're getting this information, what should you do now?
I think what you should do is immediately apply. Currently, there's 1,400 claims already pending. As the graphic said, on March 14th, they're going to start to pay these claims. There's no reason not to get in line now. If you have a problem filing the claim, we have all kinds of veterans assistance agencies, both here in Sarasota and Manatee County, and I'm sure they'll be happy to help.
That was my next question. Do you need a lawyer? Do you need some kind of help out there? And, you know, there are fly-by-night companies out there who are probably going to want to try to get in on this.
I would stay away from a private company at this point in time. I think it certainly should be simple enough to file on your own. All you need to do is bring in one of the presumptive diagnoses, which are adult leukemia, aplastic anemia, bladder cancer, kidney cancer, liver cancer, multiple myeloma, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, and Parkinson's disease.
And finally, what kind of amount of a benefit can these vets get from this exposure?
Well, each case is handled on a case-by-case basis, and it depends what benefits you're currently getting. In this situation, you'll be able to get a disability benefit plus whatever else you have, and there's survivor benefit possibilities, so it's possibly a lot of money at stake here.
Okay, Jerry, thank you very much. We hope these veterans get the benefits and care that they long deserve. Jerry Zivic is a government benefits consultant. He joins us twice a month, and your primetime headlines are coming up in just a moment.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Attention blood clot filter patients. Surgically implanted blood clot filters are potentially life-threatening. Some filters are prone to breaking, resulting in pieces of the filter moving through the body and causing internal bleeding. If you had surgery to implant a blood clot filter, you may be entitled to a cash award, even if you haven't suffered side effects yet. Call the Gold Shield Group now, 888-747-5291, to see if you qualify for a cash award, 888-747-5291.
Whether a family member needs a little extra help around the house, assistance recovering from a hospital stay, or someone to check in on them throughout the week, Right at Home's in-home care is the answer. Your loved one deserves the right care, and now we need caregivers to help give the right care for the right reasons, the right way. At Right at Home, we're one of the only private home health agencies in this area with the opportunity to earn paid time off. If you're someone who loves helping people, take a look at our website and click on Jobs to join our team today.
Come meet the artists and enjoy their creations at the Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival. Over 100 artists and thousands of works of contemporary art in photography, glass, sculpture, jewelry, and much more. The Lido Beach Winter Fine Art Festival, Saturday and Sunday, February 4th and 5th on Lido Beach in Sarasota. Bring your sense of discovery and appreciation of the beautiful to the Lido Beach Fine Art Festival. For more information, visit ParagonArtEvents.com.
Now for a look at your primetime headlines. We are only minutes away from President Donald Trump announcing his pick for the U.S. Supreme Court. The seat has been vacant for nearly a year. ABC's Stephanie Ramos is following the latest from Washington.
Tonight, in a primetime presentation, we'll hear who President Trump has chosen to take a seat on the Supreme Court bench.
We'll see you in a little while. We'll be announcing a
Supreme Court justice who I think everybody is going to be very, very impressed with. So we'll see you at about 8 o'clock.
The High Court has been operating with only 8 justices since Antonin Scalia's death last February. During the campaign, Trump promised that his nominee would be someone similar to Scalia.
The justices that I'm going to appoint will be pro-life. They will have a conservative bent. They will be protecting the Second Amendment.
Here are the top 2 contenders for the spot. Solid conservatives, Judges Neil Gorsuch and Judge Thomas Hardiman. Hardiman is 51 years old, serves on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals with President Trump's sister, Marianne Trump Barry, who sources tell ABC News highly recommended him to her brother. Gorsuch is 49 years old, serves on the 10th Circuit Court of Appeals. He attended Harvard Law and has a PhD from Oxford, where he was a Marshall Scholar. In legal circles, he's considered an originalist, like Scalia. Both Gorsuch and Hardiman were appointed by President George W. Bush, and according to a senior administration official, Trump personally interviewed both men before his inauguration.
I think that the person that I pick will be a big, I think people are going to love it. I think evangelicals, Christians will love my pick.
Whoever it is, expect that person to be grilled by Democrats and Republicans during confirmation hearings on everything from executive powers to Trump's latest immigration order. At the Supreme Court, Stephanie Ramos, ABC News.
Democrats and Republicans are clashing over President Trump's cabinet picks as well as his executive order on immigration. The ban is against all refugees and nationals from 7 predominantly Muslim countries. Today, the Secretary of Homeland Security defended the order, saying it is not a ban on Muslims. And 872 refugees who had already been fully vetted were allowed into the U.S. this week.
This is not, I repeat, not a ban on Muslims. The Homeland Security mission is to safeguard the American people, our homeland, our values, and religious liberty is one of our most fundamental and treasured values.
President Trump is saying you're fired to the acting Attorney General, Sally Yates. The decision comes after she publicly questioned the constitutionality of the ban and refused to defend it in court. Floridians are still signing up for Obamacare more than residents in any other state this enrollment period, and today is the final day to sign up. Last week, President Trump ordered the Department of Health and Human Services to halt the advertising campaign for the Affordable Health Care Act. The Obama administration projected 13.8 million people would sign up for coverage in 2017. As of December 24th, that 11.5 million had enrolled, almost 300,000 more than last year. That's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for an ABC News special report where President Trump is expected to announce his nominee for the Supreme Court.